Hello and welcome back. This is Tenaya Yarbrough Maxwell again with you. We are on Ezekiel 12. This is an exciting book to me just because it relates so much to our times. I often wondered, why did God lead me to Ezekiel? It's not a chapter that I would usually gravitate towards, but now I know. Before we get started, if you are liking what you're hearing and enjoying studying together, please share with your friends and family, follow me, and comment. I love to hear from you guys. Go ahead and ring the bell if you want to be notified anytime I post something. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, Ezekiel 12, verse 1. The word of the Lord came to me. Okay, God speaks to him once again. Thought it was over? Nope. His job is not done. It is not done. Verse 2. Son of man, you are living among a rebellious people. They have eyes to see, but do not see, and ears to hear, but do not hear, for they are a rebellious people. Now, what does that mean? As my pastor would say, I'm glad you asked. That means to me that the people remaining in Jerusalem, the rebellious people, had everything they needed for understanding. Eyes to see and ears to hear, but they chose not to hear or see. Because everyone, I hope, recognizes that everything we do, how we respond to the things that happen to us, the actions that we take every day, every time spent is a choice. God, again, does not want robots. He could have created a bunch of robots, but he wanted us in his own image. He wanted us to have free will. He wanted us to want him freely. So he could have made robots. But he wants us, he wants you to choose to follow him willingly. We are also equipped with everything to fulfill our purpose, to see the path we're supposed to go on. And that isn't necessarily where we want to go. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Let's stay there for a minute. Our purpose is not always where we want to go. And those are some of the toughest ones of all. Just like Ezekiel. His purpose was to go tell the people, hey, you better wake up. Something bad's about to come. He did not want to go in there, be tied to a chair, be mistreated. He didn't want to have to go through that. But that was his purpose. So again, it's not always what we want to do. Maybe we're chasing money. That's a big one. Maybe we were called to ministry, but we don't want to give up a high-paying job or take a day off to go to church on Sunday when we could be working. Maybe we're called to write a book, but we're so consumed with another man or a woman that we can't even focus on writing or putting the first words down, or not even taking the time to speak to God, because maybe their experience with that man and woman is supposed to be written down. Ooh. That's why I love journals, because when you journal, God can allow you to reflect back on it in details. And that could just evolve into anything. It could evolve into a book, a play, a TV show. Look at the Goldbergs. If they hadn't made all those videos, it's a hit. I love the Goldbergs. But we have to listen to him. You know, we might not enjoy journaling every night, but then when it comes down to it and it turns into this hit TV show and your life is now something that people can learn from, then you recognize, wow, that's why he told me to journal. That's why he told me to be committed and consistent. Consistency, or the lack of consistency, delays our place that we're supposed to be in. We may still get there, but it delays our joy. Okay, maybe it's a job or a position that you're worshiping. You like the stature it brings to you. But God is calling you to something that you feel is lesser than the position you're in now. Not recognizing that he wants to use that beginning that you feel is lesser than the position you're in now. He wants to use that to make you humble and increase your humility, to be able to bring you back up even further. Woo! Did you hear that? He's speaking to me. I hope he's speaking to you too. We think that we can see what our future is going to hold, but every day we wake up, we should recognize that we have no control. So we might as well submit to the one that does. No worries, no concerns on the direction he is taking you, because in the end, we all win. We know that. But we serve a God who has our best interest. So he's not going to take you to a place where you're not going to grow from. Remember Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a better future. Rest in that God and use your eyes to see and your ears to hear where he wants you to go, and trust. In that trust is an action. It's an action word. Trust involves movement. Trust involves faith. Trust involves believing in him. Amen. Goodness, God is good. Gosh, I love him. He has equipped us for our purpose and has made his requirements clear. Now, does everyone know that we have requirements as a child of God? Yes. Those requirements are clear. Why are those requirements in place? So that we don't deter somebody else from coming to God. If we're out here claiming to be a Christian and a God-fearing woman or man, but we out at the club twerking and dropping it like it's hot and sleeping with one person and the next and then cursing and then always complaining and this, they're going to be like, what is so different about you? No, those requirements allow us to allow God to shine through us. And when people see us, they see him, bringing them closer to him. We can't be of the world. We can't be in the world and show that light. The more we're in the world, it begins to faint away. And that life that's in the world becomes common to us, becomes comfortable to us. And we have to get out of that. So You will receive clarity as you grow your relationship with Him. Talk to Him. Learn His word. Learn His promises. And, like we're learning in Ezekiel, learn His consequences. I don't want any parts of that. No, no, no. I didn't want any parts of my spankings from my parents, and I don't want any consequences from my God. Nope. No, thank you. So you can call out to Him and recognize the voice speaking back to you as you get to know Him, and you'll have clarity. And if you're like most of us, you're going to need Him to clarify a lot of things over and over and over again. That's why it's so good to just write it down when He gives you that purpose, so that you can just look back on it and stay on track. You will have that discernment of, is it me, God, or the devil speaking to me? Man, everybody has split personalities. And of course, I'm not talking about the mental diagnosis, split personality, but we have 3 voices in us that we have access to, that have access to us. The God that we serve allows the Holy Spirit to speak to us. We have ourselves. When we say sometimes those negative things, like, oh, I can't do this. I'm tired. When do I get to do what I want to do? But, whatever. Or we could be saying something positive. God made me beautiful. Or we could say, you know what? I think my calling is to be a hairstylist. But actually, that's what you want to do. But God is calling you to the other side to do something else. Now, He might have put that passion in you to be the hairstylist, but He wants you to go this route first, because He's going to elevate you to the point where when you do become a hairstylist, you have access to who you need to have access to. Elevation. We hear those voices saying, keep going, give up, press on, stay, leave, go, Like the end of verse 2 says, they have eyes to see, but do not see, and ears to hear, but do not hear. And then He calls them a rebellious people. And if you or I are turning away from God's calling, God's direction, His vision, and going in the opposite of what you know to be wrong, you are a rebellious people. And it has consequences. We don't want any parts of that. We've established that, right? We don't want that. Okay. Enough on my tangent. But anyway, it must have been necessary because it was good. Verse 3 through 7. Let's read that. Therefore, Son of Man, pack your belongings for exile. And in the daytime, as they watch, set out and go from where you are to another place. Perhaps they will understand, though they are a rebellious house. During the daytime, while they watch, bring out your belongings packed for exile. Then in the evening, while they are watching, go out like those who go into exile. While they watch, dig through the wall and take your belongings out through it. Put them on your shoulder as they are watching, and carry them out at dusk. Cover your face so that you cannot see the land, for I have made you a sign to the house of Israel. Now, did you think Ezekiel wanted to be a sign? No. But he was obedient. God made him a sign. Sounds like they're role playing. So I did, verse 7, so I did as I was commanded. During the day I brought out my things packed for exile, Then in the evening I dug through the wall with my hands. I took my belongings out at dusk, carrying them on my shoulders while they watched. Can you imagine what they're thinking as they watch him do that? Don't know. So he sends, our God sends Ezekiel out again to convince the people. He said, I feel like he said, if they won't get it verbally by being told by Ezekiel, let me give them some visuals and role play what I am calling them to do. I believe he was the first speech pathologist because he fed his people where they needed to be. Like he met him where they were. As speech pathologists, as myself, we use different modes that allow our kiddos to understand what they are being taught, to understand the world, whether it's visual, tactile, role-playing, auditory. There's a lot of different ways. And you see how God addresses us. Okay, you don't get it this way. I'm going to show you this way. Okay, you didn't get it this way. I'm going to show you this way. Eventually, he's going to be like, okay, you understand what I'm saying. So he knows his people and he caters to all of their learning modes or modalities. Why would he feed them in their way of learning? I'm glad you asked. So that there is no room for but God. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Right? He again meets them where they are at. Why? Because he loves them. He loves us. He just loves us, and he'll always give us a way out. Always. Okay, verses 8 through 11. Let's go ahead and read that. In the morning, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, did not the rebellious house of Israel ask you, what are you doing? Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. This oracle concerns Prince in Jerusalem and the whole house of Israel who are there. Say to them, I am assigned to you. As I have done, so it will be done to them. They will go into exile as captives. Okay, so God came to him again. I love this. He guides Ezekiel daily. Ezekiel has a big task, and God doesn't just leave him out there hanging, and he won't do that to us either. So he guides Ezekiel daily with what he needs to do, and Ezekiel listens. Let's look at the definition of listen. Listen is the act of focus, focusing your attention to what you hear. Hear is acknowledging the sound, but he listens. He hears it, and then he listens. Ezekiel heard it, then listened, and put action behind it. So in verse 7, let's look at that. God instructs him on how to respond to what the people are asking. Goodness. Some of us need to ask how to respond before speaking as well, and I'm one of them. I've gotten so much better. I used to always feel like I have to defend myself, but the past few years, God is saying, let me fight your battles. I need you to stay focused. We can't focus on defending ourselves to everyone because you're always going to have haters. And if you don't, you're not doing what you're supposed to. Simple as that. So stop trying to make everyone like you and keep it pushing. So I'll be the first to admit that yes, I need to be that one to ask how to respond before speaking as well. Because sometimes it's just not going to come out the way it should be. And because the reason why it won't always come out the way it should be is because my flesh wants to be unleashed sometimes. Pray for me. Okay? It wants to be unleashed. Let's get to verse 10. In verse 10, it mentions oracle. So I wanted to look up oracle. Let's see what that means to get a better understanding. Okay, this is off of Google. Oracle, a priest or priestess acting as a medium through whom advice or prophecy was sought from the gods in classical antiquity. Okay, so it's advice or prophecy. So if we go back to 10, where it says the word oracle, this is the sovereign Lord says, this oracle, so oracle is the prophecy. This oracle or prophecy concerns the prince in Jerusalem and the whole house of Israel who are there. Say to them, I am assigned to you. Okay, so let's backtrack so we can understand now the oracle, the prophecy, and why the prince of Jerusalem did not like it. We can start from verse 8. In the morning, the word of the Lord came to me. This is Ezekiel. Son of man, did not the rebellious house of Israel ask you, what are you doing? Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. This oracle, which is the prophecy, what Ezekiel is prophesying, concerns the prince in Jerusalem and the whole house of Israel who are there. So they're saying, okay, they're concerned. Say to them, I am assigned to you. A sign, not assigned to you. I am a sign to you. As I have done, so it will be done to them. They will go into exile as captives. So there, it's like God says, fine, you will spend your exile in captivity then. Okay. You don't like what I'm saying? Spend your exile in captivity. Let's read verses 12 through 16. The prince among them will put his things on his shoulder at dusk and leave, and a hole will be dug in the wall for him to go through. He will cover his face so that he cannot see the land. I will spread my net for him, and he will be caught in my snare. I will bring him to Babylonia, the land of the Chaldeans, but he will not see it, and there he will die. Ooh. I will scatter to the winds all those around him, his staff and all his troops, and I will pursue them with drawn sword. They will know that I am Lord. Right? He wants them to know. When I disperse them among the nations and scatter them through the countries, but I will spare a few of them from the sword, famine, and plague, so that in the nations where they go, they may acknowledge all their detestable practices. Then they will know that I am Lord. He wants them to acknowledge them seriously. Man. So to me, God is so very detailed in these chapters. And to me, that's just more details. Really gives you a visual of what is to come. And it is not looking good. It is not looking good. Verse 17. The word of the Lord came to me. Okay, again, God instructs Ezekiel on what to do, even on how to eat and drink his food. Let's keep reading. Son of man, Tremble as you eat your food and shudder in fear as you drink your water. Is that detailed or what? He's telling them, tremble and shudder while doing this so they can see their future. Again, role playing and using him as a sign. If you don't get it auditorily, you're going to get it role playing. They're looking at him like, oh my gosh, he's shaking. Showing them their future. They'll be eating, trembling, and shuddering. Verse 18 through 20. Son of man, tremble as you eat your food, and shudder in fear as you drink your water. Say to the people of the land, this is what the sovereign Lord says about those living in Jerusalem and in the land of Israel. They will eat their food in anxiety and drink their water in despair, for their land will be stripped of everything in it because of the violence of all who live there. So much more to come. The inhabited towns will be laid waste, and the land will be desolate. Then you will know that I am Lord. Can you hear him saying that right now to the world today? Everything that's going on, you will know that I am Lord. Prayers in hospitals, kicked out of schools that he was kicked out of. Now there's no one. You want to kick me out of school? Then there will be no school. You don't want to do my will in church? Then you won't have a church. Then we will know, before this is all over, the world will know that he is Lord. And we are those faithful few that he will spare. I don't know what that's going to look like. But he covers his children. And I'm not saying if you go out and you don't follow the guidelines, he's going to still stop you from catching the virus. No, he gives you common sense. He also gives you free will. Do what you're supposed to do. But that doesn't mean that you're protected from everything. But his will be done. His will be done. Verse 21 through 22. Let's go there. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, what is this proverb you have in the land of Israel? The days go by and every vision comes to nothing. That is their proverb? Oh my goodness. Let's look at what a proverb is. A proverb's definition from Google: a short, pithy saying in general use, stating a general truth or a piece of advice. So, whoa, these people had some guts here. So the land of Israel's proverb stating, which is the definition, is stating a general truth or a piece of advice. So their advice and their general truth was the days go by and every vision comes to nothing. Wow. They're saying that God's visions aren't coming to anything. Okay. So the proverb was a perceived truth among them. Was that every day that goes by, nothing comes of God's vision. Dangerous. Verse 23 through 25 reads, Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am going to put an end to this proverb, this general truth that you guys keep chanting, and they will no longer quote it in Israel. Say to them, the days are near when every vision be fulfilled. For there will be no more false visions or flattering divinations among the people of Israel. But I, the Lord, will speak what I will, and it shall be fulfilled without delay. For in your days, you rebellious house, I will fulfill whatever I say, declares the sovereign Lord. What? They called him out. Said, your visions you keep speaking about, but nothing happens. Wow. God tells Ezekiel, okay, tell them that the visions will be fulfilled without delay. Uh-oh. They have made him mad again. Not even noticing that maybe whatever the vision they were seeking was delayed due to their disobedience. Them not being ready and not following the law, could that maybe be the reason? God says in his word, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Not do your own thing and you'll get it anyway. Okay? Do you hear me? You can't just do anything and get it anyway. Okay, verse 26. The word of the Lord came to me. Okay, he reflects again. 27 through 28. Son of man, the house of Israel is saying, the vision he sees is for many years from now, and he prophesies about the distant future. Therefore say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. None of my words will be delayed any longer. Whatever I say will be fulfilled, declares the sovereign Lord. And remember what I spoke about. Anytime anything's repeated in the Bible is of importance, and he's letting it be known. Hey, you think it was too delayed? Okay, I'm gonna fulfill it right now without delay. And I bet they want him to delay it now. They say my vision is distant, but I will fulfill it now. You think he couldn't have fulfilled it before? It's called mercy. But they just threw it in his face and saw him as weak instead of merciful and loving. It will no longer be delayed. To me, by them constantly chanting that proverb, that the vision isn't coming, it's distant, etc., it had to have been challenging his authority. Imagine your children. Woo! Help them, God. Help them. Imagine your children, if you have children, maybe it's students, maybe nieces, if they constantly were telling you, you're not going to punish me. I can do whatever I want. Imagine how difficult it would be to raise them. And they feel what they do has no consequences. Woo, we'd have some bad children. Welcome to the system. No rules, no curfews, no expectations. As a child, they would wreak havoc and not be able to contribute anything good to society or their family. So we have to get to a point where the consequences must act now, not later. And this is how God felt as well, or what I perceive he felt. And he's saying, it is done. God said, there will be no more delays. And I believe he is saying that today. He's sick and tired of the violence, sick and tired of being ignored and not giving him the glory he deserves as being our God. Taking the back seat to money and people. We're using up his time for the things that we want. Only the things that we want. And he wants you to fulfill his purpose, which will ultimately give you joy and peace. Because he wants you to have those things. More than monetary things that just bring temporary joy and end up at the thrift store after a year. So Ezekiel once again showed us something today. We have to stop assuming he's not coming. He's not going to do anything. I have time. We don't. And he has shook up the world, awakened them to acknowledge him. You can't go on social media without seeing a sermon or nurses praying, doctors praying, students praying, little children praying, parents praying, families coming together praying, learning about him. We've been forced to stop the chaos of our busyness that has not proven to be effective. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I just love studying with you. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this. That was Ezekiel 12. We'll go on to Ezekiel 13 next. And again, please share this message, and leave your comments. I would love to hear from you guys. If you are a couple, married, engaged, boyfriend or girlfriend, I also have a podcast. The link will be added in the description. And it's something to be able to help couples get through this time and come out even better. Always again, remember, God is worthy of our praise, our worship, and glory yesterday, today, and forever. Be blessed and covered. Stay safe out there. Stay home as much as possible. God bless.